name's Wreck-It Ralph.
I'm gonna wreck it!
30 years I've been doing this.
I can fix it!
It's hard to love your job when no one else seems to like you for doing it.
You're just the bad guy who wrecks the building.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
When you know you're going to play a video game character, where do you begin? Do you go back and play old video games?
No, not really. I mean, because the movie's really not about playing video games. It's more like what it's like to be in a video game. So I played a lot of these kind of old 8-bit games. I was the first generation that had them. So I played Space Invaders and Pac-Man and Defender. Remember Defender? I don't know if you ever played that. It's like the next generation after Space Invaders and the simpler games.
Well, it began 4 years ago when I started working at Disney. And it began as just this notion of what is it like for video game characters when their games aren't being played, you know? And how cool would it be to see like all the different kind of worlds that they inhabit for the first time in a feature film such as this. But more than that, I should say, you know, what's the story of it? You know, that's a great world. You know, that's a great environment to set the whole thing in video games. But why should I care about this? You know, what's it all about? And having this old school character, you know, with a very profound and deep kind of conflict going on within him, you know, of like, is this it? You know, is this what life is about? I wreck a building every day that this guy fixes, you know, and I'm villainized for it, you know. Is this what life is about? You know, so taking that very kind of human, personal, internal, you know, conflict within a person and putting it into the world of video games and everything that we would expect, you know, the spectacle of that world was pretty much the genesis of the whole idea.
I guess start off by telling me when you get these the offer to be in this, do you already know what your character is going to look like?
No, not at all. I mean, you're just literally given a script and everything. They do kind of tell you what the inspiration is. So I knew that Felix Jr. was loosely based on like a Super Mario brother, compared to, you know, Ralph's kind of like Donkey Kong-ish kind of personality.
Probably more of a Lara Croft kind of a thing with, I'm sure, I don't know all the games, but any like violent army game.
But also just, you know, the time period too. I mean, this was like 8-bit, you know, 1980s kind of thing, and this is more recent.
Right,
and
kind
like
of cutting edge technology.
High definition, yeah.
Yeah, almost a virtual experience.
They offered me this part. I you know, I've been to many, many voiceover auditions when I started out, and I never booked one thing. But when they just give me the part, then I get lucky. Well, then that is being, all right, let's start over. But I couldn't believe they wanted me, and I'm a huge Disney fan. And then getting to see who this character is, and I mean, I just felt so connected and so in love with her and protective of her.
There's something so cool about seeing everything come together in a way that reminds me of sort of Roger Rabbit, and even earlier this year with the Avengers.
Yes.
Sort of like, I didn't know movies were allowed to do that.
Yeah, no, it does, right. And I felt the same thing with Avengers. Like, wow, this is so cool, you know, to see Hulk and to see the Avengers coming together. And of course, this is exactly what it should look like. And it feels so new, but there's something so kind of familiar about it. And I love that in movies or shows, you know, where when something can feel so new, you know, but strike kind of familiar chords, you know, within me as an audience member. And it feels good to hear you say that, you know, that we're accomplishing that with this movie, you know, because that was the goal, you know, that was the goal to kind of to hit that, to be new, you know, but to feel like, man, this feels good. It feels kind of nostalgic.
When Rich came to me with this project, I was like, wow. First of all, he was really generous about allowing me to be part of the creative process of building the story even, and certainly the character. But also, Ralph's story was like, I can really relate to that. Like being a big person that people might see as one thing, but then your inner reality is something that's often totally different than what people see you as, you know? Like people see me, people who don't know me, who recognize me from movies, be like, "Oh, it's that famous guy. Oh my God, you must just be drinking champagne all day and riding around in limos and being a famous celebrity guy." And inside my mind, I'm like, no, I'm like this kid from Chicago who like grew up in a really simple family environment, and this world to me is totally weird. This celebrity, whatever it is, world. So the movie looks at that. The movie looks at how we see ourselves, how other people see us, and maybe one of the keys to happiness is reconciling yourself with yourself, you know?
It's sort of unbelievable how well you do at doing a kid's voice. And it is hard to imagine where it starts and where it ends, because you're clearly doing a voice, and yet it's very similar to your personality, it seems like.
Yeah, it was easy. There wasn't much searching for the voice. It was just like, what's your name? You know, I don't know. I don't think I have many voices actually in my bag of tricks that I know of, but that was one. It was meant to be, I guess.
Were you surprised when you actually saw the characters how much you could see yourself in them?
Yeah.
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 Oh, you're even saying like the way her jaw sits
Yeah,
and stuff.
and that is
like,
my body.
That's her body.
Yeah. But yeah, well, if I looked like that, I would. That's high praise. But you know, I can see when she moves her mouth, it kind of looks like me because they videotape us.
Yep.
And so I recognized that right away. But then after the second scene or so, you know, I surrendered to the movie and
Oh,
you know,
it's
stopped
Disney
thinking
magic.
it was me. Yeah.
And that does look like me, except he's tall.
Well, knowing that they're filming you, does that help you get into character? Are you doing movements in the booth then?
I completely forgot that they were most of the time.
It's true. You just forget about it
It's
because
right there. You don't really even.
you're trying to deliver the energy and you know whatever's expected in that particular scene, and so
He moves like you though. The way you do this kind of thing, you know.
so yeah, they do. I mean the amount of work that goes into the animation and
yeah.
the creation of these worlds and stuff was unbelievable. You take for granted that it is like 60 people who are sitting, you know, in front of computers for hours and hours making this stuff real.
Yeah. 4
Really
years.
appreciate it. I
Rich
know.
Moore has been working on this for 4 years, so
Yeah.
this is, you know, these are of the heart.
Mistake.
You ready for this? I'm not leaving you here alone.
Let's close out with the bad guy affirmation. I am bad.
And that's good. I will never be good.
And that's not bad.
Hold that thought.
There's no one I'd rather be than me.
Why do I fix everything I touch?
It's make your mama's proud time.
I love my mama!
Oh, good. The cops. Hold still.
Take that! What are you doing?
One game at a time, Ralph.